COVID. So it's been a while for these two to get together. They'll make up for it by playing 2 times in the next 4 days, just as this game itself tonight was rescheduled because of COVID. And we have our first whistle right off the bat, and Liam Sorensen holding his gut. Took a shot to the gut, and the foul is going to be against Weber State. Our first whistle 8 seconds into the ball game. Sorensen looks like he's trying to walk it off. The foul, meanwhile, is against number 15, Kobe McEwen. Quickly, the starters for Idaho State: Liam Sorensen, Tarek Kuhl back in the starting lineup after coming off the bench against Idaho. Austin Smaley, Jared Rodriguez, and Braden Parker, the starters for Weber State. Dylan Jones, Sigu Sissoko Jawara, Kobe McEwen, Dante Bassett, and JJ Overton. Parker down low, working the post. Puts up the shot, rattles in for the first points of the night. Braden Parker getting started early.
And a little fist pump from Parker as he turned around and shot that J as well.
Overton drives into the paint, kicks it out to the corner. Here's a shot by McEwen. No good. Rebounded by Sorensen, who appears to be over the early bump he took.
Kobe McEwen, the main guy for Weber, named to the Lou Henson watch list, top mid-major player in America.
Jared Rodriguez misses everything on that three-point shot. It was raining threes here the other night against Idaho. Bengals shot very well from deep, but a little off on that first attempt there by J-Rod.
Yeah, 48% from beyond the arc in that victory over the Vandals, and that's kind of the formula to beat Weber State this year. You really have to outshoot the Wildcats because they're so efficient.
Overton up off the glass, and he gets it to go down, and that gets Weber State on the board.
And you know he's practiced that about 1 billion times because that was way high off the window pane.
Nice touch on that shot for sure. Sorensen goes around the Parker screen. The double team as they work it around. Rodriguez now over to Kuhl. Kuhl, the leading scorer for the Bengals with 11 points per game. Rodriguez in the paint, swatted away by Bassett. And here come the Wildcats. Quickly over to Sigu. He takes the three. In and out, rebounded by Austin Smaley.
On that last possession, there wasn't a lot of off-ball movement, and that's what allowed the help side defender to come around and make that block.
And a foul called here. Looks like it's going to go against J.J. Overton as he tripped up Austin Smaley, who tried to drive the baseline.
He swept the leg like in the Karate Kid.
Put him in a body bag, Johnny, as we take a look at that block from earlier.
Yeah, but you see it. There's no off-ball movement there, and that's what allowed the backside defender to come over and on the double team.
Smaley to inbound for Idaho State. Needs to get it in and ends up throwing it away. Couldn't quite connect with Rodriguez. Again, if you're just joining us, Ryan Looney, the head coach for Idaho State, out again in this game. So acting head coach or assistant coach Joe White will be the acting head coach. He coached the Bengals in their win against Idaho on Saturday. Looney out with a non-COVID related medical issue. They expect him to not be out soon. Nice job of Braden Parker to get in the passing lane, not once but twice, and the Bengals end up with it. Sorensen pulls it back out. Over to Kuhl. Rodriguez looking down low to Smaley. Smaley posting up. We saw a lot of that against Idaho the other night as well. Working in the paint and gets it to go down. And quickly, Overton, strong to the hoop, can't get it to go down. Rebounded by Smaley, and here comes the Bengals.
What a job by Tarek Kuhl to be a clean block on that ball.
Smaley's three is no good. Now Bengal hits the ground as the Wildcats come up with the rebound. McEwen stops at the baseline. Nice pass underneath, but no good, and now a foul as Dante Bassett hits the floor hard. We've had several players hit the floor pretty hard already early. Physical play early on.
Yeah, and Bassett's been flying around all over the place. That was a great job of using court vision that time by McEwen on the assist here. Look at that. You could tell two defenders sucked in. His passing lane was kind of clogged up, but he was still able to find the open man.
The foul is on Liam Sorensen, his first, team's first, and that's going to send Dante Bassett to the free throw line for our first free throws of the night, and he makes it.
So you mentioned Joe White, acting coach for Idaho State, and then on the other side you have like the dean of Big Sky Conference coaches, Randy Ray at Weber State, in his 16th season. And boy, what a job he's done.
Second free throw good from Bassett, transfer from Florida. A lot of D1 transfers on this Weber State roster. Parker just plows his way in. They're going to call an offensive foul, I think, against Parker.
Yeah, you could tell that time Parker just a little out of control. That one pretty clear.
And again, Bassett hits the floor.
Yeah, you see it right here. Lowers the shoulder once, twice, and then even that backside leg. You mentioned all the transfers on Weber State. That's the new way of life, I think, for these mid-major conferences like the Big Sky Conference, the transfer portal, or as Bill Walton called it the other night, the Tinder portal. Who loves me today?
You can bet the Idaho State staff's going to be doing a lot of swiping right over the offseason, seeing what they can do to help booster this roster. Nice drive and dish there, or play there by Sigo Sissoko Jawara.
He's really elevated his play since Big Sky Conference play began in earnest, and if he gets going, Weber's going to be awfully tough to stop.
Sorensen directing traffic, gets it over to Kuhl. Kuhl drives, gets past the defender, up high off the glass and in. Nice quick move by Tarek Kuhl.
Oh, Bassett was waiting but never got the chance for the block. Nice ball placement.
Ball loose, fight for the ball and a whistle, and it's going to be a jump ball. And that's going to take us to our first media timeout. We're tied up at 6. Idaho State, Weber State. You're watching Big Sky Men's Basketball on ESPN+. 5. A close one here early at Reed Gym. Idaho State and Weber State tied at 6. 15:47 left to go here in the first half. Both these teams coming off a win. A little bump there from Kuhl, or goes out of bounds and will stay with Idaho State. First substitution of the game as Alex 2 will come in for Dante Bassett. And it'll be Smaley looking to inbound for Idaho State. And I think there's they're going to call a foul.
Yeah, I think the official said delay of game, number 5. And so...
not giving him enough space, perhaps?
Possibly. Let's take a look here. Yeah, boy, he
stepped out of bounds. Yeah. Okay, yes. So Idaho State will get another opportunity here to try and inbound this pass. They've had a little trouble with this so far early on. A couple players hit the ground again. So we got a couple substitutions. Emmett Taylor III in for Idaho State, as is Malik Porter. Zaire Porter in for Weber State. Kuhl steps back. He'll take the 3. He'll make the 3. Bengals by 3.
Yeah, you mentioned Saturday night in Moscow. Tarek Kuhl came off the bench and really responded to it well, and back in the starting lineup tonight, picking up right where he left off.
Foul called on Idaho State as Kobe McEwen drove to the basket. I think it's going to be on Emmett Taylor III.
And Tarek Kuhl's already a good shooter, but when he gets that much separation on the fadeaway, I mean, good luck.
The foul is on Taylor. That's his first, third team foul for Idaho State. 5 minutes in, we have 5 fouls already called. Nice play to get to the hoop by Kobe McEwen, showing why he's on some of the watch lists.
Averages 17 a game, and nice drive that time.
He been with the Marquette program, Utah State program, as Cool loses the ball. McEwen pushes it up. Over to Sigu. McEwen for three straight away. He nails it. And Weber State takes the 11-9 lead. They've made their last three.
Kobe McEwen, perhaps the latest great Canadian import from Toronto originally. A lot of good Canadian ball players coming down to the States lately, especially in the college game.
Nice fake by Rodriguez, but swatted away by Alex, too. Here's a three. Good by Sigu.
I would almost consider taking a timeout just to stop Weber's momentum a little bit, because they are just on fire these last couple of possessions.
8-0 run for the Wildcats. They've built up a 6-point lead. Malik Porter working the baseline, trying to work against two. Can't get it over him. Two with the rebound. Two with the size advantage there. 6'11" against Porter's 6'5". And that's going to go out of bounds.
And a nice block inside there from Jared Rodriguez.
Daxton Carr in for Jared Rodriguez for Idaho State.
I think Carr is going to be the real key. If Idaho State's really going to take off and start climbing up the Big Sky Conference standings, he's a guy that's going to have to provide a spark off the bench.
So Jawara drives and he loses the ball out of bounds. Dyson Kohler into the game for Weber State, couldn't save it, and it's going to go to Idaho State.
So the last couple of possessions, Idaho State has decided to attack the 6'11" inside. I'd say that hasn't gone particularly well, but see what they try here.
Weber State has a size advantage. Nice dish to Malik Porter, who gets it to go down.
Beautiful job of Taylor drawing the big man two out, which opened up that lane on the assist. Beautifully designed play.
Nice dish to two, but he loses it in traffic. Picked up by Smaley. He nearly loses it, but is able to save it by diving into his own bench.
Idaho State winning all the hustle plays right now. That's what's kept them in this ball game. Just a 3-point deficit.
Cool, looking down low for Porter. Again, working against the taller two. Tries to go up strong in front of the rim. Rebound by Carr, who comes in. I think that was swatted away, but Carr gets the rebound again, and he's earning a trip to the free throw line. Again, those hustle plays you're talking about there, Brandon.
Yeah, Carr there cleaning up the garbage inside, and even as he gets blocked on his follow attempt, he continues to stick with it. And I think that's what Idaho State wants to do. They keep attacking two inside. I think they're trying to get him into foul trouble, and that's a good start.
So Carr is going to go to the free throw line. This is Idaho State's first trip to the charity stripe tonight. The foul, meanwhile, is on two. That's his first. Carr makes the first free throw. Subs coming in. A.J. Bergen in for the first time for Idaho State as Sorensen comes back in. Cool and Smaley will have a seat. Dante Bissett checking back in for Weber State as two will take a seat.
And I mean, even when one big comes in for the other, I mean, you're only swapping out a 6'11" for a 6'9". They still have the size advantage no matter who's in there.
Carr's second free throw. Back iron, rebounded by Bassett. Kohler hands it off to Porter. And there's going to be another foul here called against Idaho State. I think Bergen's the guilty party here.
Yeah, that's too bad, because you can see here Porter was out of control with the dribble. I mean, he had nowhere to go with that. Gets bailed out with the foul.
That's Bergen's fourth team foul with 12:16 left to go here in the first half. Nice pass underneath and a good recovery by Dylan Jones to lay it up over his head.
Jones averaging a double-double on the season, which means you've got to have pretty good awareness around the basket.
Porter Working on Bassett down low. Up strong, another block by Bassett. It goes out of bounds. Bassett's showing his defensive prowess as we have another immediate timeout. Weber State on top, 16-12. Idaho State to inbound here. 11:49 left to go here in the first half. The Wildcats over the Bengals 16-12. Thanks for joining us tonight on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Poked away and nearly stolen. And ultimately is taken by the Weber State Wildcats, but Bergen takes it away and then out of bounds, knocked away, and it's going to go to the Bengals after a couple of wild plays there.
Yeah, initially you had Liam Sorensen throw the pass away, and I think he was trying to avoid the over and back call, but forgetting that if a defensive player tips it, you don't have to worry about that necessarily, but nice job by Bergen at the other end.
So ultimately, no harm, no foul for anybody. Just a couple of seconds off the clock. And here's a foul called. Dante Bassett got a piece of Braden Parker.
It was destiny that as soon as you said no harm, no foul.
No, somebody's going to foul.
There's going to be a whistle.
That's Bassett's first foul, fourth team foul. So Idaho State will inbound. Again, thanks for joining us on this holiday Monday alongside Brandon Bainey. I'm Dylan Carter. This rivalry matchup here in the Big Sky, Idaho State, Weber State. Liam Sorensen trying to work the post. His shot's short, and the rebound is corralled by J.J. Overton. Head to McEwen. He hands it off over to Porter. Zaire Porter back to McEwen, down low, looking for Bassett. He takes the baseline jumper, no good. Rebounded by Bergen.
That's a win for Braden Parker defensively. He'll let Bassett shoot that all night.
Sorensen now down low again, posting up. Here's Cool on the baseline. He'll take the step back jumper, fade away. Nothing but net.
There's only one guy on each team that can make a shot like that. One is Kobe McEwen for Weber. The other's Tarek Cool for ISU. What a shot.
McEwen trying to dribble through traffic. They work it around. Bassett now working on Parker. 10 on the shot clock. Down low. Puts it up. Nice push shot there by Bassett to get it over Parker.
And that's Bassett knowing that, hey, I missed that jumper last time. Let me post up strong and take it right to him.
10 to go here in this first half. Weber State with a 4-point lead over Idaho State. Bergen with the ball. Over to Parker. Set the screen for Cool. Daxton Carr wide open for three. No good. Bergen tries to save it, and it's going to go off a couple of players, and it should be out of bounds.
Baskets inside, but there's also those blocks. So you take the good with the bad, and they're hanging tough, only down 4.
Weber State shooting 58%, 7 for 12 so far. Idaho State 38% at 6 for 16.
And when you look at the stats for Weber State, you'll see they rank in the bottom third in the Big Sky Conference in rebounding, both offensive and defensive. And you go, well, boy, I wonder why that is. They've got all these tall guys. Well, it's because they shoot the ball so well. There's no opportunity to rebound. I mean, seriously, that's what it is. So, yeah, they've got all these big, strong guys, but they also shoot the ball extremely well. And so it's a lethal combination. There's a reason why they're 4-1 in the conference. It really could be 5-0. They lost on literally a shot by Montana on the road in Missoula inside of 5 seconds to play.
Okay, so here's a twist of events. So they weren't reviewing who the ball was off of. They were reviewing whether the shot clock expired. So it's actually a shot clock violation against Idaho State. That's what they were reviewing.
Ooh.
And so it's going to be Weber State's ball off of the turnover.
That's why we're up here.
Exactly. 3 in and out, rebounded by Carr. That shot from McEwen did everything but go in. Cool. Gets it over to Bergen. Looking down low for Parker. Guarded by 2. Parker in the paint, nice feed to Sorensen, goes up strong, but 2 is there defensively, a fight for the rebound, and they're going to call a jump ball. Possession arrow will go to Weber State.
That was a nice job by 2 on that last block. He didn't even leave the floor. Just straight up defensively led to the great stuff underneath. Yeah, look at that. Well, I guess he just barely got off the floor, but great fundamental block inside.
Doesn't take much when you're 6'11" to get up too high. Just over 9 to go here. Weber State up 18-14.
You know, 2's from London. I bet he's on the top of the double-decker bus.
Speaking of 2, he misses that shot. Rebounded by Carr. Sorensen for 3. No good. Rebound by Carr. And he gets fouled on the tip-in attempt. He'll earn a trip to the line.
And this is where we talk about Daxton Carr, a guy who started the season in the starting lineup. They made the change a couple games ago, and players can react one of 2 ways. You can embrace that role and come in and not necessarily be the guy that's scoring all the time, but doing all the other little things, and that's exactly what Carr is bringing to this Idaho State team tonight.
Dyson Kohler charged with the foul for Weber State as Carr knocks in the first free throw, cuts the lead to 3. The Pocatello native will get another free throw.
Yeah, I mean, he's already come in 5 rebounds and a steal in pretty limited action. That's high impact minutes.
5 rebounds in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Looking for his 3rd point of the night here, and he rattles it in. 2-point ball game here with 8:46 to go here in the first half. Jones with the ball. Goes around the 2 screen. Flips it back out to Overton. He takes the shot in the paint. No good. Rebound brought down by Cool. ISU out rebounding the Wildcats so far. 12-9 as Cool loses it. Fast break potentially for the Wildcats. McEwen loses it momentarily. Able to get it back. Drive into the paint. Good job by the Bengals defensively to slow things down. Here's a 3 now here by Sigu. No good, and Liam Sorensen drags the rebound, but then has to throw it out as he was about to go out of bounds, so he turns it right back over. McEwen coming back here for the Wildcats, and another whistle here. And that's going to take us to our next media timeout. We'll sort out the whistle when we come. State on top of Idaho State. Just under 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Wildcats with the ball, inbounding to 2. It's been a bit of a drought for both teams. Weber State hasn't scored in the last 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And still haven't with that miss there. Rebound to the Carr. Meanwhile, ISU has 0 field goals in their last 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Their only points have come from the free throw line in that time. Carr backing it out for ISU. Parker trying to get it to Cool. Finally finds Sorensen. Tries to use the screen. 6 on the shot clock. Sorensen drives baseline, gets it to Parker, puts it up, and gets it to go down just before the shot clock violation.
What a beautiful pass off the double team. And again, what vision as the lane got clogged up.
That ties us up at 18. Again, Braden Parker getting in the passing lanes. Opportunity here for Idaho State. Bergen can't get it to go. Rebound by Daxton Carr, and he sneaks it just over the rim. ISU with the lead now, 20-18.
That's the hustle we talked about. Weber State not even bothering to get back on defense. Led to a 3-on-1 advantage for Idaho State.
6-0 run now for the Bengals. Pump fake, corner 3 here for McEwen. No good. Rebound, Daxton Carr.
And that's the first shot McEwen's taken in a long time. I don't think it's a coincidence that Weber's drought is coinciding with McEwen's lack of shots.
Bergen for 3. That misses everything. Goes out of bounds. That's the 3rd Idaho State 3-point shot that we've seen that has hit nothing.
And for Weber, yeah, this is the play underneath. Yeah, a 3-on-1 essentially. And for Weber, you know, not only has McEwen, you know, not been taking many shots, but he's not involved in the offense much, like even handling the ball or dishing it or anything.
Another name we haven't really called a whole lot for Weber State is Dylan Jones. He's had a quiet night so far. As Bassett tries to work down low against Parker, has to kick it out. 9 on the shot clock. Drive up and a foul coming as McEwen drew the contact. So he'll earn a trip to the line. Looks like it's going to be Braden Parker charged with the foul.
Yeah, Parker caught on skates a little bit there as he tried to help off the screen, and yeah, you could see he was already falling backwards as he jumped up to try and block that. But man, I'll tell you, Parker's been battling tonight inside. He's done a great job.
He has. It's his second foul as McEwen hits the free throw. Parker will have a seat, as will Carr, as Malik Porter and Jared Rodriguez come in for Idaho State. One more free throw coming for Kobe McEwen. He has 6 points tonight to lead the Wildcats. And he makes a second, and we're tied up at 20 again. Just under 6 minutes to go here.
But there you saw in that last possession, McEwen involved in a pick and pop type situation, gets him to the free throw line. Weber gets 2 points out of the possession.
Rodriguez to Cool. Sorensen looking for somewhere to take the ball. Finally, he'll dribble it. Try and back it down into the paint. Nearly stolen from behind and then finally taken. And I think it's a foul called against Weber State. Coach Randy Ray not happy with the call. And I think they're going to call McEwen.
We'll take a look on the replay. Right? Oh, I didn't see much. The legs kind of got tangled up.
Yeah, it looks like they're both just trying to get for the ball.
Yeah, incidental contact.
That's McEwen's second foul, meanwhile. 6th team foul. Now we have a whistle here and a 5-second violation against Idaho State. Those inbound plays have been tricky for the Bengals tonight.
Yeah, Weber State's got a lot of long-armed athletes, and turnabout fair play, I suppose, off the foul call.
So we're tied at 20, each team with 6 team fouls, so next foul will put somebody in the bonus. 5:18 left to go here on the baseline. Nice spin move into traffic, loses his footing, and picked up by Porter, but he throws it away. Right back to Weber State. Overton in the paint, up and one. J.J. Overton puts it high up in the air and gets it to go down. Drawing the contact by Malik Porter, I believe, is going to be charged with the foul for Idaho State. It is.
Yeah, and I thought they could have gotten him with the shoulder there for the offensive foul initially, but nice job of sticking with it by Overton. And
so he'll look to convert the three-point play here. And he does. That's the first foul on Porter.
I've noticed there's only one speed with this Weber State team. They do everything at like 100 miles an hour, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes, as we've seen tonight, they can turn it over a lot.
Cool, looking to get it down to Porter. Porter going down the baseline. Strong move to the hoop, off the glass and in. Malik Porter showing his post presence. 1 point lead for Weber. Here's a three from Bassett at back iron, and the rebound by Sorensen as Overton hits the deck. Rodriguez now, and Sorensen now on the floor. A lot of people on the floor here tonight. Bengals working the ball around. Sorensen now. 9 on the shot clock. Tries to get around Jones. He'll take the baseline jumper. No good. Rebound. And a foul as 2 more players hit the ground. And Overton is slow getting up. Looks like Rodriguez kind of awkwardly landed on the back of Overton's feet.
Yeah, everybody flying around like crash test dummies tonight. It's more like a wrestling match than a basketball game.
So Rodriguez is charged with the foul. Weber State in the bonus, so Overton, who appears to be okay, he just gives a handshake to Rodriguez, making sure they're all right. Good sportsmanship there. So both players are just going for the ball, so no intent there, of course. The free throw coming here for Overton, as the Wildcats have got the 1-point lead.
Yeah, Rodriguez kind of tripped over his own feet and leaned into.
No good. And rebound by Rodriguez, and he gets swatted in the head by Bassett.
That's a silly foul on Bassett. I mean, clearly Idaho State had gotten the rebound, and it's just that little extra tap that gets the whistle, and yeah, that's a silly one. Now he's got to check out.
That's his second foul, and also that puts Idaho State in the bonus, so Rodriguez is going to get a one-on-one opportunity. And sometimes you just got to accept the fact that you've been boxed out. Just concede the rebound.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, Idaho State has kind of been pushing Bassett around to where the last possession he took a three-point shot, which is probably a shot Coach Ray doesn't want to see him take, and then here he is getting muscled out on the box out, too. I think Idaho State's getting to him a little bit.
Rodriguez hits 1 of 2 on the one-and-one opportunity, so we're tied up at 23. Jones bringing the ball down for Weber State, over to Overton. Zaire Porter now directing traffic. Stops, top of the key, and good for Sissoko Jawara.
Silky smooth, the Loyola Marymount transfer.
Sigu leading the Wildcats with 8.
They sure could use him this year in that loaded West Coast Conference. Gonzaga, BYU, San Francisco, St. Mary's.
Porter again going strong, challenging 2, and he's going to turn a trip to the free throw line as that takes us to our next media timeout. 3:27 left to go here in the first half. Weber State up 26-23. Bengals hanging around. More on the way on ESPN Plus. 10. Malik Porter at the line for Idaho State. 3:27 left to go. Weber State up 26-23. It was Alex 2 picking up his second foul before the break. Porter can't convert. He'll get another as it was on a shooting.
And Coach Ray is going to keep 2 out there with those 2 fouls. That's really a divisive point among college coaches. Some coaches automatically take a player out if he picks up those 2 fouls in the first half. Others say, I'll let him play through it.
Porter misses a rebound, or misses a free throw, and it's 2 with the rebound for Weber State. So we're approaching 3 minutes to go here in this first half. Overton, over to Porter. Weber State working the ball around. Sigu in the paint. He'll puts it up. No good. Rebound. Emmett Taylor the third.
And you saw there 4 Bengals and 0 Wildcats ready to get that rebound. And we talked about it in the break, Dylan, that Idaho State is dominating on the glass right now, 19-13.
Cool dribbles it off his foot, but is able to recover. Hands it over to Smaley. Quickly over to Taylor. Rodriguez now tries to go the baseline, held up by Jones. Here's Emmett Taylor the third for a deep 3, no good. 2 gets the rebound, quickly ahead to Porter. Zaire hands it off to J.J. Overton. He drives, baseline, high off the glass, over the arm of the defender. Great play there, J.J. Overton.
How did that go in? The angle that he was at and how high off the window pane that was? What a shot by Overton.
5-point lead for Weber State. That matches their largest of the game. This has been tight pretty much throughout. Emmett Taylor, the third shot, no good. Another offensive rebound for Idaho State. Malik Porter picking it up. That's their 7th offensive rebound, and Emmett Taylor, the third, gets the second chance points from deep.
Another hustle play leads to a 3-point shot for Idaho State. Tremendous effort by the Bengals.
Under 2 to go here in the first half. A 2-point lead for Wildcats. Porter with a wide open attempt, and there's going to be a loose ball foul as 2 more players hit the deck, and I think this is going to be against Overton. It is, so J.J. Overton picks up the foul for Weber State. That's his second, and Tarek Cool will get some free throws here. Should be a one-on-one, as that's the 9th team foul against Weber State.
Yeah, on that last jumper, Zaire Porter got so much separation. He was like surprised that he was, oh man, I'm this wide open, and I think that caused him to miss the shot.
Sometimes it's better to shoot and then think. Sometimes when you have too much time to think, it kind of messes up your shot. As Cool misses that one. Didn't matter how long I thought my shot was messed up whenever in my playing days, which really wasn't much. That's why I'm up here. Here's a corner three short from Siga, rebounded by Cool.
Again, nobody on the glass for Weber State. They're all out on the perimeter.
Cool drives, backs it out. Nice fadeaway by Tarek. Cool. When you can, that shot right there, that fadeaway like that is almost indefensible when you're able to get that kind of separation on a fadeaway like that. Nice play by Overton. Hesitation got his defender in the air, and he found a seam to the hoop. Under a minute to go now. Wildcats by 2 in this very close, entertaining game here between these two rivals. Cool again dribbles it off his foot. Has to pick it up, looking for some help now. Gets it to Porter, back to Cool, puts it up the teardrop. In and out, no good. Rebound still put away. Cool ends up with it. He puts it up.
That's just how they drew it up, Dylan.
And Coach Randy Ray has seen enough. He wants to talk it over. We're tied at 30. Idaho State out-rebounding Weber State 23-15. 8 offensive rebounds for the Bengals, as they are just, this is what's keeping them in the game, really, is just those second opportunities they're getting from all those rebounds.
I loved the improvisation on that last play from Idaho State where Cool lost his dribble, had to dish it in the corner to Porter, and then watch as he attacks. So that's that nice fadeaway jumper he's obviously feeling that shot tonight. But then where he picked up the dribble and lost it and dished off, he immediately drove to the basket. So Porter in the corner had somewhere to go with it.
And that's how it ended up, yeah.
And again, sticking with it. And so those are the little things that add up to team success.
Well, it was great chemistry too with Porter, knowing to dish it right back to Cool on the play.
We'll see what Coach Ray drew up here. There's about a 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock here.
All right, here we go. Half a minute to go here in the half. McEwen bringing it up, guarded by Cool. Knotted up at 30 apiece. He's going to wait for his moment. Cool kind of tries to initiate some pressure to kind of get him to go. 10 seconds now in the shot clock. McEwen, kind of a double team now, gets it over to Overton. 3 on the shot clock, stops. McEwen pump fakes. He's not going to get it off on time. Shot clock violation. So the Bengals get the ball back. 0.7 on the clock.
They'll add a little more time, I think. They're going to talk about it. And I think add at least a couple of tenths. But yeah, you saw right there, McEwen, he just hasn't been engaged tonight at all offensively for Weber State.
So it looks like they're going to leave 0.7 on the clock. Carr will inbound from the side here, on the far side. So pretty much time just for a quick catch and shoot if they're going to try anything. Instead, they just give it to Cool. And second half here on the way. Idaho State will start with the ball here as we get underway. Sorensen over to Cool. Tries to get it to Rodriguez, who's able to get it before it goes into the backcourt. It'll be interesting to see what substitutions Weber State makes. Braden Parker takes a 3, short, rebounded by McEwen.
That's exactly what Weber wants defensively.
J.J. Overton, strong to the hoop with the one-handed jam. The Wildcats coming out strong with the energy.
I think they're a little more motivated this half, Dylan.
It looks like it for sure. Whatever Coach Ray said, we have another turnover here against Idaho State. Braden Parker traveled.
Take a look at this flush, and he faked the pass and then rocked the cradle, and oh man, yeah, the one-handed jab. That was a thing of beauty. You talked about what substitutions would Weber make in this second half. That's another big key, is the Idaho State bench is outscoring Weber's bench 12-0. So they've got nothing from their bench so far tonight.
Down low, looking for Dante Bassett. Going up against Parker. Strong move and a nice post play there by Bassett to get great positioning and lay it in. 4 quick points here from the Wildcats to start this second half. You can see the aggression a lot more from Weber State here to start this second half.
Randy Ray, one of the great motivators in the Big Sky Conference in terms of coaching. And
another turnover here as the Wildcats come up with a steal. Pushing it, Jones. Hands it over to McEwen. Strong, quick to the basket. Tries to whip it out to Sissoko Jawara, but a little bit off the mark on the pass, and it ends up in the bench. I think it might have been Alex, too, who caught the pass. Unfortunately, he's not in the game.
Yeah, tried the no-look pass that time. A little too fancy. A little off target. This is a big possession for Idaho State. Yeah.
And there you go, a turnover, another deflection in the passing lane. Overton quickly out to Sigu. Here's a shot now by Jones. No good, rebounded by Cool. Smalley. Over to Parker as they work it around to Rodriguez. Cool now. Corner for Sorensen, down low on the post, looking for Rodriguez. He takes it strong. Back-away fadeaway, takes a lap around the rim, and then goes in for the bucket.
Oh, that was a beautiful shot down low by Rodriguez. Sucked in the big man Bassett, and then slipped back out for the little fadeaway.
McEwen loses the ball, but it goes right to Jones. Nice and strong move by Overton, gets his own rebound and draws the foul as well. I think that's going to be Parker, which will be his 3rd foul. So he's going to have to probably come sit down early in the second half. He pounds the scorer's table in frustration after picking up his 3rd foul early. 2-point lead for the Wildcats as Bassett trying to work the post against Porter. Nice spin move and a jam. 36-32, Weber State. Taylor over to Porter and a whistle away from the ball. Let's see what the call is. Looks like it's going to stay with Idaho State, so it's going to be against Weber.
Yeah, Kobe McEwen here.
That's his 3rd.
That's big.
That is big.
That takes out some of the aggression that he has in driving to the basket. And now I think there's a dispute. McEwen maybe trying to pass that foul off to one of his teammates.
The referee telling both teams to calm down. Of course, that's right in front of the student section, so they're getting involved in the verbal part of the discussion.
Giving him the business a little.
Yeah. So McEwen staying in the game with 3 fouls here. Just under 17 to go here in the second half. We'll see if Idaho State tries to attack him at all. Rodriguez goes straight to the hoop and gets fouled from behind by Bassett. And that will be his 3rd foul.
And you saw it right there on that drive. McEwen was the help side defender. He didn't even slide over because of the 3 fouls. You'll see it right here. McEwen right here on the right, and he didn't even slide down to the paint. Just turned and watched it because he has those 3 fouls. Now that's also going to impact his aggressiveness offensively in driving to the basket, which is a strength of his.
So suddenly foul trouble starting to be an issue for Weber State as McEwen and Bassett each with 3 fouls now as Jared Rodriguez makes the first free throw. Meanwhile, Coach Randy Ray electing to keep both of them in the game so far.
And I think part of that is because of the lack of production he's gotten from the bench tonight. He's going to try and stick with his starters and gamble a bit here.
As Rodriguez makes both free throws, that cuts the lead down to 2. So we'll have to see if Idaho State turns up their aggression, maybe trying to attack those players with the 3 fouls in the game right now. McEwen over to Overton, stops in the paint and passes it to nobody in particular. So after a strong start for Weber State, the wheels kind of fallen off a little bit in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Overton, I'm not sure where he was going with that ball. I mean, there's literally nobody there. I wonder if that's a play that they've practiced in muscle memory I don't know.
Meanwhile, Bassett has gone to the bench now with his 3 fouls. McEwen's still in the game, though, challenging Emmett Taylor III, and he nails it from the corner. And ISU back on top, 37-36.
With a hand in the face, drains it. What a shot from Taylor.
McEwen, he'll take a 3 right in front of his own bench, and he nails it. Back and forth we go here in the second half. Wildcats back up by 2.
That's a big shot for McEwen. Maybe that'll get him going a little bit here offensively.
Cool. Driving right at Overton, gets all the way to the hoop. Can't get it to go down, though. Rebounded by Dylan Jones. Jones pushing it in the corner for Sissoko Jawara for 3. As he hit that right in front of his own bench. 6-0 run for the Wildcats, and they're now up 42-37.
Well, they've bumped their three-point percentage by about 15 points here just on those last 2 shots.
Kind of regaining their composure a little bit, too, after a little rocky patch there. And 237 over Idaho State. Last time these 2 teams played was March 2nd of 2020. Both of their meetings last year canceled due to COVID. That was the first year since 1962 that these 2 teams did not play. So we've waited a while for this matchup, and it has not been a disappointment at all. Deep 3 as the shot clock's winding down, and Tara Cool misses everything, and that's going to be a shot clock violation.
Yeah, coming out of the timeout there, I'm not sure Idaho State knew how much time was on the shot clock there, and see if Weber can take advantage.
Wildcats currently on a 6-0 run. Zaire Porter with the ball. Over to McEwen. Down to 2 on the baseline. Left wide open. Goes behind his back and shoots it and misses.
Nearly turned it over. Still recovered.
Taylor III, front iron. Rebounded by Zaire Porter. He nearly throws it away. Ends up getting it back. Nice dish to 2, and he's going to draw the foul as he got Malik Porter up in the air.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this Weber State offense. They nearly throw it away, and then 2 seconds later, just a beautiful assist underneath. Yeah, that was a great job penetrating by Zaire Porter, finding the big man.
So that's Malik Porter's 2nd foul. He was on the floor, so no free throws coming.
And that's been the one area where Weber has done better.
Oh, great play off the inbound from Weber State as they find Sigu Sissoko Jawara wide open. Bengals kind of fell asleep a little bit on that play. 7-point lead now for Weber.
Yeah, a bit of a scoring drought here for the Bengals.
No good by Cool. The putback missed by Porter. Still ball up for grabs. Cool somehow gets it and draws the foul. The hustle plays continue to go a little bit towards Idaho State as their fighting continues.
I mean, you're talking about Tarek Cool, one of the smallest guys out there at 6'4", pulls down his 6th rebound of the game. And yeah, we talked about it, just the constant attack on the glass leading to more opportunities. But Idaho State only shooting 55% from the free throw line. That's kind of been the one area that's kind of hurt them.
Cool does get that first one. Meanwhile, the foul on 2, that is the 3rd foul on Alex too. So fouls starting to pile up a little bit for some of the individual players for Weber State as the 2nd free throw is no good, rebounded by McEwen. Dylan Jones whips it out. Zaire Porter for 3. No good. Rebound. Fought for and brought down by Emmett Taylor III for Idaho State. Quickly head to Sorensen. Porter whips it over to Cool. Down to Porter on the block. Tries to get to the hoop before 2 does, and he draws the foul. And that's going to be 4 on Alex 2. 2 has 3 blocks tonight, so he's been in presence defensively, but the quickness of Malik Porter has gotten 2 in trouble.
And with the substitution that's about to happen, we're going to see for the first time tonight a Weber State lineup without a true big. And that could really swing things Idaho State's way.
So Porter here, Malik Porter with the free throw. Misses the first one. And here's the substitution that Brandon was talking about. Alex Tew's going to take a seat, and in for him is Dyson Kohler, 6'7" freshman from Draper. Transfer from Cal Poly.
So matchup-wise, you know, this favors the Bengals a little bit in terms of height.
The second free throw in and out. Rebound brought down by Dylan Jones, and then gets bumped from behind by Daxon Carr. It's one of those fouls that drive coaches crazy. Although maybe sold a little bit by Jones.
And he's had kind of a quiet night too. We talked about, you know, 6 rebounds, which he averages 10 per game, but only 2 points. Well below his season average.
Zaire Porter out to Sigu for 3. Rebound skied up and grabbed by Malik Porter. Ahead to Cool.
This will be a key stretch the next 4 or 5 minutes without a big on the floor for Weber. Can the Bengals take advantage?
Sorensen drives straight to the net. Can't get it to go down, though. Rebounded by Kohler, and then he throws it away. Idaho State gets the ball back. And a discussion between Kohler and McEwen as they were unable to connect. A.J. Bergen in for Cool for Idaho State.
You see Kohler with the rebound, and the pass was tipped a little bit. That's what happened. Idaho State did a nice job of tipping that pass, and McEwen wasn't able to save it.
Sorensen with the ball for Idaho State over to Emmett Taylor the third. He'll take the 3. A little bit short this time. Rebounded by Dylan Jones. Jones bringing it up. 12.5 left to go here in the second half. Strong drive to the hoop and one for Dylan Jones. And that foul, I think, is going to be on Porter. That is his 3rd for Malik Porter.
Jones knew that he was taking this all the way. The little head action too sells it a little bit, but fighting through the contact, making the shot.
So Jones able to complete the 3-point play. McEwen's going to take a seat for Weber State. In for the first time, I believe, for Weber State is KJ Cunningham.
Coach Ray having to dip a little deeper into the bench than he would like to because of those foul problems.
Sorensen. And a foul called on, looks like Cunningham. As he tried to take it off of Sorensen.
Little forearm action there.
So unofficially at this point, 0 minutes, 1 foul for Cunningham.
Not much there, but Idaho State will take it.
It's a 9-point lead for the Wildcats with just over 12 to go. Looking on the block and another whistle. And Cunningham may have just picked up another one. And he did.
And that's also the 7th foul on Weber as a team. So Idaho State in the bonus with 12:16 to play in the second half. But again, they haven't really been able to cash in at the free throw line yet.
So now unofficially, Cunningham with 0 minutes and 2 fouls. That's the wrong kind of efficient you want to be. Sorensen gets the first of the one-on-one to go. So he'll earn another shot.
You know, every team needs an enforcer coming off the bench and mix it up a little.
Sorensen can't get the second one to fall. Rebounded by Sigu. And Sigu kicks it out, whips it around. Dylan Jones for 3. No good. Rebound. Brought down by Weber. Second chance opportunity here for the Wildcats. Up by 8. Porter creates some space but can't get the 3 to fall. And Sorensen with the rebound for Idaho State. To Taylor. Porter wants it down low. Bergen gets it down to him. Porter working on Jones. Gets into the paint, puts it up off the rim and rebounded by Jones. Here comes the Wildcats now. Corner 3. Good for Sissoko Jawara. And an 11-point lead now for Weber State, their largest of the night.
Yeah, Weber pretty much settling for threes at this point, but they're cashing in on just enough to make it a worthwhile endeavor.
Malik Porter wide open, but blocked. What a great block there by Kohler. Who says they don't have size out there. Then a three to back it up by Sigu Sissoko Jawara. Big stretch there for Weber State as they have stretched the lead out to 14, 53-39. Weber State on a 6-0 run. More to come here. You're watching Big Sky Men's Basketball on ESPN+. 11:01 on the clock here at Reed Gym. Weber State on a 6-0 run. In fact, they've been on a 17-2 run in the last 5 minutes to really kind of pull ahead. Their 14-point lead right now, the largest of the night. A great stretch there for Weber State off the block from Kohler, leading to the Sissoko Jawara three. Emmett Taylor III trying to stop the bleeding, but his shot's going to cemented the grip they've had on this game so far.
Yeah, a little D, a little three, and that forced Coach White to take the timeout there for Idaho State. And what a run, 17-2 for Weber over the last 5:21.
All right, Weber State with the ball. Just working the ball around on a weave. Nice drive and out of bounds. Zaire Porter had a good path to the basket, but lost control of the ball on his way there.
And the crazy thing about this 17-2 run for Weber is it came with a lot of key players on the bench with foul trouble. And so that window was open for Idaho State, but it's been smacked shut, that's for sure.
Sorensen, the ball for Idaho State, cross court to Taylor. He drives baseline, knocked away, but it goes right to Sorensen. 10 on the shot clock for the Bengals. Sorensen's going to back it out. And another foul called on KJ Cunningham. And Cunningham's just like, what can I do? That's his third. He only has officially or unofficially at this time 2 minutes in the game, and he has 3 fouls.
Yeah, let's take a look here on the replay, and I mean, yeah, he's got the forearm resting right on Sorensen's back there. Can't do that. But again, another big storyline has been Idaho State's inability to take advantage at the free throw line. Just 8 of 17 from the line. You know, you make even 6 or 7 more of those, I mean, a lot different ball game.
Sorensen makes the free throw. The Bengals are in the bonus. So an opportunity perhaps there if they can make those free throws to kind of get back into this game with the clock stopped. Sorensen makes them both, so that cuts it down to 12 with 10 to go.
I believe that's the first time a Bengal's gone 2 for 2 from the line on a trip there this game tonight.
Overton on the baseline, drops it into Jones, back to Overton for 3, no good. Bounced off the rim, rebounded by Taylor. He tosses it over to Sorensen.
And again, Weber settling for outside shots. They want no part of the Bengals inside, which is strange considering they have the size advantage.
Meanwhile, Malik Porter not afraid to go to the rim at all, regardless of who's on the floor for Weber. Nice play there, but Wildcats trying to respond quickly. Bengals able to settle down defensively. And Taylor gets in the passing lane, but the Wildcats able to hang on to it. And a nice play by Overton to draw the foul. Nice pass to give him the position. He's going to go to the free throw line. I think Emmett Taylor III is going to be the guilty party. That's his second foul for Idaho State.
And that's the other reason why it's so surprising, because look at the ball movement here. I mean, Weber's done a very nice job tonight, especially to the cutter inside. So it's surprising me that they haven't tried that more. Now, they've hit enough threes in this second half to feel okay, but...
Free throw in and out for Overton.
And still a smaller lineup out there for Weber State as well, with both Bassett and 2 on the bench.
Overton can't hit the second, but an offensive rebound by Jones. Quickly out to Sigu, who misses that one. Another offensive rebound. So the rebound advantage that was once heavily in favor of Idaho State has evened out a bit.
Well, you see why Jones is 12th in the nation in rebounds per game.
McEwen with a big dagger three right there. And it's back to a 13-point lead for Weber State.
Yeah, you just can't give the Wildcats that many looks at the basket. They're too good. They'll make you pay for it.
Meanwhile, ISU, they're only 1 for their last 11, so their offense has kind of really gone cold here. Porter trying to do his part, though. Strong move to the hoop there. Porter has 8 points.
Last 2 baskets have come from Porter inside. Might be a little spark plug.
Jones whips out in the corner for Kohler. His three's no good, but gets the offensive rebound. Wildcats dominating the offensive boards here in the second half. Corner three for McEwen. No, but there is a whistle as McEwen ends up in his own bench. I think Malik Porter is going to get charged for the foul for Idaho State, and that should be 3 free throws coming for McEwen.
Yeah, that's a mistake on the closeout there, and that's also Porter's 4th foul.
That's troublesome for Idaho State because he's kind of been their go-to offensive player here during this stretch as they've been struggling.
Well, Idaho State, 2 of their last 12. The 2 have come from Malik Porter.
McEwen misses the first free throw. Subs getting ready to come in for Idaho State. 2 more free throws coming for McEwen. He makes the second. He'll get 1 more. Smalley and Parker in for Idaho State as Taylor and Sorensen takes a seat. Meanwhile, Dante Bassett in for Weber State as Dyson Kohler will take a seat.
It has been a long time since Parker and Bassett have played. We'll see if they can shake off the rust quickly.
Each of them have 3 fouls as the 3rd free throw goes down for McEwen. He now has 15 points, and it is a 13-point lead for Weber State. Drive to the hoop, off the glass. Liam Sorensen trying to give the Bengals a boost. Jones hands it off to Sigu. Over to Overton, stops in the paint, looking for some help, down low to Bassett. McEwen pumps fakes the 3. Behind the back to Bassett, why not? Straight away, no good. Rebound by Rodriguez, flipped ahead to Cool.
That's a win for Idaho State. Weber State's biggest guy popping a 3, not there for the rebound.
Rodriguez tries the half as the Wildcats have started to take control of this game.
Yeah, out-rebounding the Bengals 16-10 in this second half.
Sorensen with the ball for Idaho State. Step back, long 2. Back iron, no good. Rebound, grabbed, looks like by Bassett, but then he gets fouled. I think it's Rodriguez.
And now Weber is into the bonus. Boy, we got 7:06 to go here. We have a lot of free throws, Dylan.
It's going to be a lot, yes. Bassett is going to take the next 2. He's 2 for 2 so far tonight. He has 8 points. He has 2 blocks and 2 steals, so he's made his presence known defensively for sure as he misses the first free throw, and Braden Parker grabs the rebound. Smalley looking for J-Rod. Parker trying to post up. Said Rodriguez will kick it back out to him. Parker will try the 3. In and out. Rebound grabbed by McEwen. Parker can make those. It's not the shot you probably want him to take a whole lot. He's now trying to guard Bassett. Bassett, nice push shot, up and down. Friendly roll there for Bassett.
You know, for as long as he was on the bench with those foul problems, he's come in and has been pretty crisp.
He has 10 points, 4 for 7 shooting. Sorensen tries to drive the baseline. Creates a little bit of space. His shot misses, rebounded by Overton. Wildcats trying to put a nice behind the back move. They work it around. Jones looking for some help directing traffic, gets it over to McEwen. Now it's Bassett on the baseline, working against Parker. It's going to go now on the back to the basket, post up, strong move, and it's going to be a blocking call against Parker.
Ooh.
That could have gone either way, I thought, because Bassett looked like he lowered his shoulder a little bit.
Unless the contact from Parker came and that caused him to give that little shove action, which certainly could be, but yeah, the more blatant move was definitely on Bassett.
Well, as it goes, that is Parker's 4th foul. And so he's going to have a seat, and Malik Porter's going to come in for him. And Bassett's going to get more free throws.
And now the guy they call J-Rod is really going to have to step up here, Jared Rodriguez.
Another missed free throw by Bassett on the first end of a one-on-one, so missed opportunity there for Weber State to add to the lead. 5:39 to go. It's a 13-point ball game. Still time, but if you're Idaho State, you've got to get stops and start scoring. Malik Porter loses the ball, gets it back after the deflection. Down low, have to whip it back out to Sorensen. 6 on the shot clock. He gets all the way to the hoop, no good. Rebounded by Jones. His 11th, quickly ahead for Sigu Sissoko Jawara for the lay-in.
I said it in the first half. Sissoko Jawara has really stepped up his game since Big Sky Conference play began. And if he's feeling it like he is tonight, now with 21 points, they're almost impossible to stop.
And an offensive foul here called by Rodriguez as the Weber State player. Looks like Overton hit the floor hard. So that'll be free throws coming. No, that's an offensive foul, so no free throws, but let's see, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty clear. But yes, Sigu Sissoko Jawara, I mean, he's now 5 of 9 from three-point range. Leading scorer, 21 points, and you combine that with Jones and McEwen, that's a three-headed monster that I'm not sure anybody in the Big Sky can combat.
And another whistle here. They're going to call Austin Smaley for the foul. That is his first. And that's going to be the double bonus now for Weber State. So they're going to get 2 free throws now from here on out with 4:48 left to go. And that's going to send Sissoko Jawara to the line. He misses the first one. Actually, excuse me, it's not Sissoko Jawara, that's Kobe McEwen at the line.
And McEwen has really stepped up his game in the second half. 50% from 3 and 16 points, just 1 off of his season average.
It's back to a 16-point lead for Weber State. That's their largest of the game so far. And a steal here from Sigo. Unable to get the ball to go down, but it's going to go out of bounds into the Bengals as it goes off of a Wildcat. A couple of Bengals look like they're able to get back defensively to disrupt the lay-in. So 4.5 to go here. Sorensen, nice drive and one. Liam Sorensen. He struggled from the field, just 2 for 10. That was the 7th point, trying to get things going here. He played a career-high 31 minutes against Idaho in his first start. Started this game as well. And converts the 3-point play to cut the lead to 13. Now full court press here coming from Idaho State. Jones trying to get it through. They get it past midcourt. Stolen from behind by Smaley ahead. But then Porter throws it away. McEwen with it for Weber State. So Idaho State a little too eager to try and create the fast break. Gives it right back to Weber State, and Wildcats are going to slow things down. The clock's their friend. They're going to take their time. McEwen with the 3. Good. Kobe McEwen.
Well, now you see why he's on the Lou Henson watch list for the best mid-major player in America.
We got a kicking violation here, and that'll bring us to our last immediate timeout of the second half. 3:46 on the clock. Weber State with a 66-50 lead here at Reed Gym. You're watching Big Sky Men's Basketball here on ESPN+. Idaho State to inbound with 3:46 left to go on the clock. Wildcats up by 16. Tarek Cool with a quick three off the inbound. He gets it to go down. Tarek Cool, his 15th point of the night to lead Idaho State. Overton, nice dish to Bassett, who throws it down with two hands. It's a nice feed from Overton. Weber State answers right back. Sorensen whips it out to Carr. He'll take the corner three. No good. Rebounded by Sissoko Jawara.
Every time Idaho State makes a play, Weber makes a more spectacular one back the other way.
3 minutes to go. Of course, Weber State's not in any hurry now, as the clock is certainly their friend. That ball was tipped away by Cool. He got a fingertip on it, so it'll stay with Weber State. 6 on the shot clock. And it looks like Coach Randy Ray wants to call a timeout for Weber State. With the 2:50 left to go here, 68-53. Idaho State really hung with Weber State for, we're tied at half, and for the first part of that second half, Brandon, they were kind of hanging there with them as well. And of course, if you're joining us late, Idaho State is without their head coach Ryan Looney. He is out with a non-COVID related medical issue. He did not coach the other night against Idaho, and not coaching tonight. Athletic Director Pauline Theros in a statement said, "We do not expect a long absence for Coach Looney. However, the health of our staff and players is paramount. We intend to give Coach all the time he needs to return in full and perfect health." And after the win the other night, the big win against Idaho, acting head coach Joe White talked about how they were playing for Coach Looney, and they played hard. There was a lot of emotion, and I wondered heading into this game, Brandon, if maybe there would be a letdown after that big emotional win. It didn't appear that way in the second half, but maybe sometimes emotion only takes you so far, and then maybe talent starts to take over.
Yes, and I think we saw that in that first half, and our thoughts are certainly with Coach Looney, and we hope you're back soon. And the world we live in today, you can't be too cautious when it comes to your health. But for a half, we saw it, and really for the early part of the second half. But I think Weber and Coach Ray probably delivered a pretty fiery halftime speech. And the downside is now these teams meet up again on Thursday night.
That's right.
In Ogden, and Weber and Coach Ray is going to say, hey, put these guys away early, unlike Monday night. So that's going to be a difficult spot for Idaho State in the rematch.
Quick foul here from Tarek Cool.
McEwen makes the shot anyways, won't count, but boy, you see why he is such a player and probably one of the favorites for Big Sky Player of the Year. Very efficient, 5 of 8, 4 of 7 from 3, and kind of a quiet 19 points, if that makes sense.
You can add another one to that list. It's 20th point there for McEwen.
And again, Weber State makes no bones about it. Every single point has come from their starting 5 tonight. But man, it's a really good starting 5.
McEwen is 5th in the Big Sky in scoring as he makes the other free throw now. It's a 17-point lead with 2:45 left to go. Long three by Cool as they try to get something going. Rebounded by Kohler. Weber State will take their time. McEwen bringing it down. So yeah, the interesting dynamic of these two teams playing again on Thursday. Of course, that's what we saw last year in the COVID adjusted schedule. That's pretty much how the entire conference season went. Corner 3 no good. by Jones, rebounded by Porter. Cool trying to push it for Idaho State. Hands it off to Porter. Can't get the dunk to go, but I think Cool is fouled on the putback. I think that's where the foul was.
Yeah, tough to tell because Porter went back for a second go-round with the rim.
It is Cool that's heading to the free throw line, so the foul was on the second attempt, not the dunk attempt. The foul is on Kohler. That is his second, and free throws coming for Tarek Cool. Short on the first.
Yeah, you mentioned last year with the COVID-adjusted schedule, it really made the league a little more unpredictable because it didn't happen very often where, like, Weber beat Idaho State twice or where a team won twice, especially on the road. This year, you know, we thought it might even out, but you look at the standings, Weber's right there, Southern Utah, Montana State. I mean, the league, again, competitive and balanced.
Wildcats break the full court pressure put on by Idaho State as we're just under 2 minutes to go. Double team here. McEwen gets through it, but he gets called for the foul. And another spectacular basket that's not going to count after the foul call. This one, I think, is going to be... Smaley reacted the most to the whistle, and it is his foul.
They're going to get him right out front here. Yeah, a little reach in as McEwen was going to the basket.
Some more free throws for McEwen. Makes the first. (71-54). And he makes them both. (72-54). Sorensen draw trip to the free throw line. As the free throw numbers are starting to get up there for both these teams.
Good practice, and I think both teams would say we need it.
Weber State 13 for 20 from the line. ISU 12 for 22. Neither are numbers that most coaches would be happy with as Sorensen hits the shot. He has 9 points. And he makes the second one. Now more pressure here for Idaho State with $1:44 left. And Sorensen gets the steal. Cool. Out to Smaley for 3. Yes! Idaho State not giving up. They get the steal on the inbound again, and Daxton Carr's going to earn a trip to the line.
Memorable comebacks.
Some more pressure here for Idaho State. Weber State does break it. Zaire Porter with it now, and he gets bumped by Cool, and he can't believe it. Some more free throws. Zaire Porter going to the line. He'll be looking for his first point with his first trip to the free throw. He's 0 for 3 from the floor. Meanwhile, that's a second foul on Cool. He makes it, so he gets on the scoreboard with his first point of the night as Emmett Taylor checks in for Daxton Carr. One more for Porter, the junior from the Bronx. Makes them both. And Emmett Taylor III just sees that ball goes right through his hands and out of bounds. Carr back in. We got defense-offense substitution with Carr and Taylor for Idaho State. It'll be Kohler inbounding for Carr. The two former Cal Poly players. Into Zaire Porter, over to Overton. Double teamed in the corner, and he's going to call a timeout. A little bit of feistiness there in this rivalry game.
Well, it's been over a year since these two have had a chance to settle it on the court, so a little pent-up emotion probably. Either way, if you're Idaho State, you have to have a lot of confidence coming out of this game, knowing that really the only thing that separated you from a win was just some bad shooting in the second half. I mean, that trend's going to continue now, where if Weber shoots a higher percentage than their opponent, they're undefeated this year. And it wasn't for lack of effort. Idaho State, just those tough shots that were falling in the first half just weren't falling, especially in that 15 to 10 minute range in the second half.
Sometimes when it's your night, the shots seem to fall in from anywhere. That was the case for the Bengals in that win against Idaho. Not quite the same story here against the Wildcats.
Bengals may petition to play all their home games in Moscow.
Kohler to inbound for the Wildcats. Gets it into Sissoko Jawara. He'll back it out, and he gets fouled by Daxton Carr as Carr hits the deck. So another foul with 1:08 left to go. And more free throws coming. It's going to be Sissoko Jawara at the line. He has 21 points. He's had a good night. 8 for 14 from the field, 5 for 9 from the line. Makes the free throw. His career high for Sissoko Jawara is 25. That was against Montana State in February of last year. His season high is 23. He's a free throw away from reaching that point. And he does. So imagine a career, or a season high, I should say, 23 points. He got that against Dixie State back in November. Here's a three attempt by Cool, no good. Rebound bouncing around, and loose ball out of bounds. It will stay with Idaho State with 56 left to go on the clock.
Yeah, Weber State's length has really disrupted Idaho State's three-point shooting. 5 of 20 for the game, and it's been really tough sledding in the second half because even on the closeouts, they're just a little bit bigger, a little longer.
Cool for a deep three. Those are the shots that were falling against Idaho the other night here, Jim. Rebound to Weber State. And they're just going to take their time. Although wide open underneath the basket is Dante Bassett. Bengals lost track of him, and he throws in the easy dunk with 40 seconds to go. 19-point lead here for Weber State. Deflected, gets to Bergen, back to Cool. Cross court to Taylor, but it's going to be deflected out of bounds by Overton. Bengals will inbound with 19 on the shot clock, 28.7 on the game clock. Sorensen will inbound. He'll try and take the three. Nope, instead take it to Cool. Pump fake. Runner off the glass and good. Full court pressure here with 22 seconds left, and a timeout called by Weber State. Well, you're talking about closing out games. Weber State has made 5 of their last 7. And prior to that last shot by Cool, Wildcats had a 6-0 run going.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every way you slice it up, Weber State doing much better in the second half than they did in the first half. First half shooting from the field, 11 of 26, 3 of 11 from 3. Second half, 15 of 28, 6 of 15 from downtown. And Idaho State hung tough, and it ultimately just came down to Weber, especially started hitting a couple of three-point shots. And maybe Idaho State felt the pressure to match that. They started forcing it a little bit from the perimeter, and they weren't hitting like they were Saturday night here against Idaho. Now, Coach Ray's taking this timeout maybe to draw up a play that they haven't used in a game situation yet, something he wants to work on, or we'll see.
Well, it's a good opportunity to practice against the press anytime you face it. Oh, slipped out of bounds. Overton couldn't quite keep from his foot going out of bounds. A turnover with 16.1 left on the clock, so the shot clock is off. Sorensen bringing it up for Idaho State. The baseline, whips it out of bounds off of Cool. Well, no, they're going to say it's Idaho State's ball with 8.8 left. Unfortunately, they're deciding they don't need to review it. 8.8 seconds, I think we're all right. Cool on the inbound, in the paint, stops, out to Bergen. He's going to take, I think, a long two. No good. Rebounded by Overton, and that will do it.